in astronautics. So this evening I will be going over, we will be going over who we are, what we do, and how you guys can get involved with us. Followed by our club announcements. We will be having a pizza break, and then we will invite our guest speaker to come up and present.
Hello, everyone. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone who came out tonight. I know it's cold, I know it's rainy, so we honestly appreciate it. It's awesome to see a lot of familiar faces here. So yeah, now my name is Christian. I am the vice president here of AIAA at UCF, and this is a little bit about us. So we are University of Central Florida student branch of AIAA, of course, and then we have one of the largest AIAA student chapters in the nation. And pretty much what we do is we design projects. So anything that flies, we build it. We do a lot of networking with peers and mentors, and we pretty much just explore the world of aerospace.
All right, so this is this year's e-board. So as I said, I'm Emma, I'm the new president. Christian, our VP. Amelia is our secretary. Alessandro is our treasurer. He's out right now. And Nathan, our projects chair. So a little bit more about me. I am a senior in aerospace. My AIAA involvement includes a few of the projects that we have, such as AVD, glider design, rocket design, and DBF. And was also previously the event coordinator and vice president. Oh, I guess, yeah. My hobbies include baking, playing piano, and some nature walks, especially here around Orlando. And my fun fact is that I have a large collection of vintage looking metal lunchboxes.
Hello again. My name is Christian. I'm the vice president. So right now I am a junior. My major is aerospace engineering. My AIAA involvement has looked like a variety of things. I've done the quadcopter project, I've done rocket design, I've done the L1 program that we offer in the spring. Also done AVD, and I'm also the sponsorship committee lead. Furthermore, I have quite a few hobbies, but too many to put on here. If I had to choose, I would choose pickleball for sure, basketball as well, spike ball. I'm also a big gamer. I like playing Xbox. And I like hanging out with my friends. So a little fun fact about me is I'm currently working on my L2 project, and I also have 4 cats. I'm a big cat lover. So
Hi everyone, I'm Amelia. I'm the secretary this year. I'm a junior aerospace engineering major here. Some of my involvement with AIAA includes quadcopter design, rocket design, L1, DBF, and glider design. Some of my hobbies outside of the club are rock climbing, traveling, and nature walks. And a fun fact about me is that I have driven round trip from Chicago to here 20 times in my life. And then we've got our treasurer, Alessandro. He couldn't be here. He's getting the pizza right now. He is a computer engineering major. He's done quadcopter design and glider design as part of the club. And his hobbies include traveling, fixing computers, baking, and cooking. And then his fun fact is that he will jump through hoops to commit to the bit.
Hi, I'm Nathan. I'm the project chair. I'm a mechanical engineering major. My involvement with AIAA has been Night Dash, which was a former food delivery drone project. Hovercraft, I was a former lead for that project, and I recently was a member of the glider design project. My hobbies include mentoring high school robotics back in Tampa, diving, programming, and wrangling magical creatures. And my fun fact is that I eat burritos as if they are apples.
All right, so these are our 3 faculty advisors for AIAA at UCF. So last semester we had Dr. Kaufman and Dr. Elgahari, and this semester we are in the works of onboarding Dr. Parikh. They all have strong backgrounds in engineering and are all professors here at UCF.
all right, guys, excuse the voice crack. Now I'm going to talk about our committees. So this year we have 3 committees, and they have certain tasks that I'm going to talk about here in just a second. First and foremost, we have our media committee. So they're going to be charged with capturing club events through photography and videography as well. Furthermore, this is going to be everyone on the media committee. It's a lot of names. I'm not going to say all of them, but that's everyone who's on it. Furthermore, we have our events committee. So they're going to be tasked with coordinating events on and off campus. So we like any socials that we have or any fundraisers that we have, they're going to help out with that. That is everyone on the events committee. And then the sponsorship committee, which is the one I am in charge of, we are charged with excuse me, outreaching to external companies and trying to get funding through the club. And then through that funding is how we are able to provide all these awesome projects for you guys. So.
And some of our upcoming events, starting with Blaze.
All right, who likes pizza? All right, everyone in the room should have their hand raised. I'm kind of disappointed, but all right. So next Friday, January 31st, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., we have our Blaze Pizza fundraiser. This is going to be a proceed towards us. So if you guys show this little flyer up at the cash register, 20% of whatever you guys spend is going to go to us. So like I was just mentioning, so all the money that we raise is going to go back to you guys in one way, shape, or form. So tell all your friends, tell anybody you know, if you like pizza, please come out. If you like hanging out with people and just talking, it's a great event to do so.
All right, next up, I'm excited to announce that we will be offering one of the first industry tours that we've had in a while. So we are offering an industry tour of Kennedy Space Center. This will take place Friday, February 28th at noon. So this will be like a behind-the-scenes tour of some of the on-site facilities at Kennedy Space Center. You must be a dues-paying member to sign up for this. We will have those applications open before the pizza break. So there are limited spots for this tour. So, be quick about the signups, and it's going to be a quick turnaround for when they close. They will be closing tomorrow at noon. So please be aware when those open up. Yes.
Where can I find them? Where in the Discord?
They will be on our link to our link tree at the end of this presentation. Yes. All right, so that is not the only opportunity we have for KSC. We will also be offering a social at the visitor complex later this semester. This will be Friday, March 28th, all day. There's no max capacity for this event, so it'd be great to, come join other club members to see some of the exhibits and displays and spacecraft here at KSC in Cape Canaveral. So this interest form will also be linked to our link tree at the end of this presentation. All right, now I'm going to invite Connor and Ian up to talk about Flight Day.
All right, guys. So this is AIAA Practice Fly Days. I am Connor Tyson. I'm the quads lead.
And I'm Ian Doherty. I'm the AVD assistant lead.
So Flight Practice Day is an opportunity for AIAA members to be able to go out and fly the aircraft that we have as a club. We have planes, we have quads, and like you can come out if you don't have any experience flying any of these things. We'll teach you how to fly them. We also show you how they work, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, I mean, also if you have like aircraft of your own, you can bring them too. You're just in charge of them. But yeah.
It's also important to note that you shouldn't feel worried about crashing any of the planes or quads. Quads in particular are pretty durable. They're basically just flying bricks and they can only break in very minor ways. So don't worry about that. And planes may be more fragile, but we do something called buddy boxing, which means essentially I'll be flying the plane on a different transmitter than you. You will also have a transmitter, and then I can take away control at any point if the plane is going to crash. So there's plenty of time for everybody to get in experience, and we won't really have any incidents.
That's good.
Thank you. All right, so earlier this month, there was a conference here in Orlando called SciTech. This is offered by AIAA Nationals, our parent organization. This is one of the world's largest research and development conferences where you can network with other companies, learn about what they do, learn about their current projects. It's great for meeting other people that are in research. You can hear different technical papers of what's happening at other universities and what people are doing in the world of aerospace. So I just want to let you guys know that this conference will be held in Orlando for the next 3 years. So I encourage you all to, research into it, check it out, and think about attending for the upcoming years. This past year, there was a few AIAA members from the student chapter who attended, as well as some of the UCF research labs as well. So. All right, so now for the moment you guys have all been waiting for, we are going to be talking about our projects and how to sign up. So this year we are offering 7 different projects. We have 5 recurring, 2 new, and 1 competition project that is offered by our parent organization. So first I'd like to introduce aviation vehicle design.
For those of you that don't know, I'm Austin Fleming, the lead.
I'm John Bradley, the co-lead. And once again, I'm Ian Doherty, the assistant lead.
I'm Carmina Sanchez, also assistant lead.
For those of you that don't know or haven't been here, it's the first time ever seeing us, we help you guys design, simulate, and manufacture RC aircraft from the ground up. You need literally no experience whatsoever. You could be a freshman coming out, whatever. You could be an English major for all I care. We will teach you, for if you don't, but we will teach you SolidWorks, FLR5. We use both those programs to absolutely run our program. It works great for us. Last fall, so this is this is 2-year semester or 2-semester program. Last fall we did all the designing, and then we also you present your designs to industry professionals. That went great for all of us. This semester we are now manufacturing and hopefully fly them in April. More of that to come. Yep. I think we're good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, next, welcome to the stage our rocket leads.
Hello, everyone. See a few familiar faces. Sweet. Well, my name's Dylan Moga. I'm the rocket design lead. Here are some of my co-conspirators.
I'm Maximus Haddad, the favorite lead in rocket design.
My name is Lucas Bello. I'm the co-lead.
My name is Nico Zentevis. I am one of the other assistant leads.
All wonderful, amazing folks. Wouldn't do anything else without them. Well, along with us, not joined here right currently, unless he's somewhere in the back with a camera, is Alex. He's our photographer, and he also does rocket leads as well. Fantastic guy. Go up, go bother him, say hi to him, ask him to get a picture. But so we're rocket design. We help you guys to design, simulate, manufacture, and assemble rockets. We start from the basics, bare bones, and we build you all the way up to the the knowledge you need to actually send one of those suckers into the sky. So last semester, some of you guys may know that we do our basic program where we do our little team builds, but this semester we're going to be doing our L1 workshop, which works towards an L1 certification, which is a fantastic resume builder for all you guys. So we do try to build off that knowledge we built last semester, but as a workshop, this is pretty much open doors to our dues paying members. So you guys are all allowed to attend. And even if you aren't super familiar, we'll try to get you up to speed so that way you guys can be well on your way to getting certified.
Bottom left is our meeting times and place, just for your reference, but yeah.
Yeah, happy to have you guys, and sign up on our interest forums later tonight. Thank you.
All right, next up, welcome quadcopters.
All right. Hi, my name is Connor Tyson. I am the quads lead.
I'm Eric. I'm the quads co-lead.
I'm Gabriel Johnson. I'm the assistant lead.
So in quadcopter design, basically we teach members how to design, build, and fly their very own quadcopter. We tell y'all like the electronics involved, like how to design it, all that kind of stuff. We teach you how to use SolidWorks. That's what we use to design it. Yeah, we built it from laser cut acrylic, and then all that. And
our meeting times are going to be Mondays at 7:30 to 9:20 p.m. in Engineering 2 105, and same room on Wednesday, same time. So whichever one is more convenient for you, just pull up to that one. And once again, if you're in the quads thing, make sure to pull up to the practice fly days if you can, so you can get some more experience flying a quad.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, now introducing our hovercraft leads.
All right, I'm Ethan Nicoletti. I'm the lead.
I'm also Ethan. I'm the taller Ethan, but I'm also an assistant lead.
Vivek. I'm also an assistant lead.
Right, and we are the hovercraft design competition. So each semester we do a different themed competition. Last semester we did jousting. This semester we're going to be doing an obstacle stunt race. Basically for this project, we're going to be taking you from the ground up how to design, CAD, and then manufacture, fly your own RC controlled hovercraft as pictured above. We're going to be teaching you guys how to use Fusion 360 if you aren't already aware for this. So you get some experience with a different CAD software in this project. Our meetings are Mondays, Tuesdays. Yeah, so we're going to be taking you into TI lab. You get to laser cut out your crafts this semester. For the stunt race, you're going to be racing through different obstacles, performing different stunts to score as many points as possible. For this project, we do like to say there is a lot of creative freedom in your craft design. So if you're looking for something with a bit more expression creatively, this is a good project. You can kind of go crazy with it. It could be as easy or as difficult as you make it. So it's very beginner friendly, but also if you have a lot of engineering experience, this is a good project to try to make something unique in a challenge.
I mean, it's a great beginner project. I joined when I was a sophomore with no experience. So yeah, if you're looking for something to do, get some experience, you should join Hovercrafts.
Thank you. All right, next up is our glider design leads.
Hello, I'm Zach. I'm the lead for gliders.
And I'm Devin, an assistant lead.
So we were a new project last semester, and we kind of had good success. I think we had like around 15 members create, design, and build a pretty cool glider. Has everybody been in the engineering atrium before? Yeah. You ever wanted to throw something from the top of it? That's what we get to do. Not the top, but close to the top. Yeah, yeah. But we're kind of like we're definitely a beginner friendly part of the project. So if you don't want to go too hands on, no homework, nothing like that, we're all in the classroom during the meeting times. We're kind of helping you design a glider. We're gonna toss it off of the top of the atrium, and we're gonna see how far it can go.
Yeah, like he was saying, it's not much commitment. So if like don't be shy to join, especially like no experience required. And I know like some people are very hesitant with like workload and getting acclimated to that if like it's your first semester. So come out and join us.
Yeah, and similar to hovercrafts, we're gonna show you how to CAD. It's also very customizable, so you can make your glider however you want it to look like. We're also using XFLR5, which is something that AVD uses. So please come out, join our meetings. We're Tuesdays, Wednesdays this semester.
All right, now we're going to talk about our blimp project. So welcome our blimp leads.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nadav. I am the blimp lead.
I'm Michael Minute. I'm the assistant lead.
Okay, so Blimp Project is actually a new project to AIAA. We are creating completely from scratch a blimp. So last semester, what we've been working on, had a complete research phase, simulation phase. We did research about the materials that we wanted to create the blimp from, all the electronic parts. We also did simulations using MATLAB and other softwares. Now this semester, we just got our parts. We're going to start building almost right away. After we get a couple things set, we are also going to teach you guys simulation for different parts of the blimps. We're probably going to use SolidWorks on most of it. And yeah, just come help us manufacture a blimp. This is really the first time that this project is coming to action. So you guys are going to be the first group of students helping us create this project. And that means you really have this kind of open field of creativity to be able to put in whatever you guys want into this project. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Our meetings are Tuesday, 6 p.m.
Thank you. All right, and last but not least, we have our design, build, fly competition project offered by AIAA National.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avery. I'm the DBF co-lead.
I'm Zach. I'm the DBF lead.
So DBF is a fun project offered by AIAA National. It's a competition where you get to design a UAV that basically follows a certain set of parameters. It's an international competition, so schools from across the country, across the world actually, compete every year. You can see a lot of people get involved. There's how many schools? Like 60 schools competing this year. We're taking a sabbatical this year from competing. So last semester, we spent the whole semester doing the research, putting in the hours and designing the plane. So this semester, we're building it. The project is open to anybody who wants to come and get involved, help us build it. We would love to see a lot of people there. Yeah. Anything else?
Well, on the next slide, there is. So, DBF is a yearly project, and I would like to say that the team does get going sooner than all of the other projects because of the fairly tight deadlines of the competition itself. So I'm just saying, if you guys want to get involved with the project, especially if you want to maybe be one of the leads next year, start giving it some thought now. You know, it's never too soon to start thinking.
All right, and we've got some other announcements to go over. So towards the end of the semester, we will be re-electing next year's e-board. So we wanted to go through each of the 5 positions on e-board and give a little summary of their roles and responsibilities. This would be a great chance to step into a position of leadership and help out the club and be able to be on the other side, offering all of you guys the projects and the events that we try and do for you. So first up, we have president. So some of the responsibilities that I do include being the masters of ceremonies. So speaking to you all, leading the GBMs and other events that we host. I stay in contact with other RSOs on campus, other UCF faculty, and professionals within industry to, we bring in our guest speakers and people to give you advice and a little rundown of the projects that they participate in. This role also includes some administrative work, so sending emails, working on the budget with the treasurer, and signing documentation like that. And then it's just, keeping everyone accountable of the officers and the board members to make sure that they are all doing the work they are supposed to do. So if you have any questions about this or other positions that we'll be talking about, please come up to one of us and let us know.
Now I'll talk a little bit about what I do. So vice president responsibilities, essentially assisting the president in their duties, coordinating conferences like Emma mentioned earlier. She talked about SciTech, so that kind of conference, and planning of retreats and organization of the club, maintaining relationships with other RSOs, in addition with the president and industry companies, and to add on to that, pursuing opportunities of external funding and sponsorships like the sponsorship committee I mentioned earlier.
All right, so as secretary, you're going to be handling a lot of the club's communication internally, talking to officers, making announcements, doing scheduling for e-board meetings and other meetings that we do as a club, handling room reservations, emails, and different things like that. It's really a great way to build some leadership skills I highly recommend running. And as treasurer, you would be handling a lot of the budgetary things for the club, creating budgets for projects, meeting with them, figuring out what materials they need, getting to go meet with student government to get funding for the club, and buying all the materials and getting that sorted for the projects.
So as the projects chair, they are responsible for overseeing all of the projects and making sure that all the leads have everything that they need. With regards to the rest of the team, making sure that they make their budgets on time, making sure that they develop their curriculums and plans for the semester, making sure that everything that's being ordered for their project is coming in along the correct timeline, working with the secretary on getting rooms every semester, and just keeping up with everything that needs to be done for our projects and to be made available to our members.
So this is going to be about our Lockheed Martin mentorship program. So AIAA has partnered with Lockheed Martin to offer a mentorship to you guys, the students. This is where you will be paired with a Lockheed Martin employee. So you guys will talk one-on-one. And it's very, very valuable because you can talk about a whole bunch of things. You can talk about your resume. They can help you out with your resume, critiquing it. They can also talk about interview prep as well. And pretty much anything you would like to talk about, career advice, this, that, and the third. I can say for sure that it is a very valuable experience. I did it last semester, and I love my mentor. He was a very great guy. He, like I just mentioned, he helped me out my resume. We did some interview stuff. So yeah, it's a very, very valuable program that we offer. The deadline to sign up for this is going to be Friday, January 24th at 11:59 p.m. This is going to be for dues paying members. So another benefit of being a dues paying member is going to be this. So make sure you guys sign up, and yeah.
All right, now I'm going to invite Zach back to the stage to talk about student government.
All right, so I'm going to pose a quick question to the crowd. Quick show of hands. Who tried to go to SciTech this year and went to CRT for money? Just show of hands. Were you guys happy when they kind of yoinked it out from under you? Yeah, exactly. So if you want to make sure that that doesn't happen again, elections are opened up. So, I mean, you know, if you want to take more of a leadership position that doesn't involve technical knowledge, you think, e-board might be a little too much work. This is also an option. It's not a huge time commitment. If you have any questions about it, then shoot it to those 2 emails. Info sessions are up in the top right. You can also find them on the calendar. That's it.
All right, let's talk about merch. So this, if you guys want to represent the club, this is a great way to do it. We have a couple things up here, starting with our 2023 to 2024 shirts. That is the logo on the very back of the shirt that you see up there. We also have our mystery bags, which is going to include an AIAA shirt design from one of our previous years. It's a great way to get an AIAA shirt at a discounted price. Furthermore, we have flight tags. You can slap these bad boys on anything you would like: couch, backpack, water bottle, whatever you want. You can do it. We also have our stoles. So for those of you who are graduating, and then we also have our 2023 to 2024 polos as well. Again, more merch. So new to this year, we have our baseball hats. We also have stickers, which you can get today. So make sure you get them today before they sell out. We also have our bucket hats for those of you who love bucket hats. And then we have even more merch. So new to this year also, we have our 2024 to 2025 AIAA at UCF shirt design. So as you see, it's going to be a little planet thing with our project logos orbiting around it. It has AIAA at UCF over the top. It's going to, the front of it's going to be very simple, just our logo. But yeah, make sure you stick around to the end so you can scan the QR code, and pre-orders will be available very, very soon.
All right, so let's talk about membership. Our yearly dues are $30. The $30 gives you access to all of our design and research projects. You are not limited to the amount that you can participate in. It's as many as you're interested in joining and available to do so. The membership also gives you access to some of the tour opportunities that we talked about earlier, as well as some of the club socials and other events that we have ongoing throughout the semester. This is a great club to network with other student engineers that have similar interests, build your technical skills and soft skills as well. All right, so what's the difference between AIAA at UCF and AIAA National? AIAA at UCF spans your scholastic career, whereas AIAA National spans your professional career. So our student chapter provides you with the opportunities that I just mentioned before, with access to the projects and just networking around UCF. AIAA National will give you opportunities to attend conferences such as SciTech and other ones like Aviation, Ascend. You can network with industry leaders, and then you can also get access to certain publications to stay updated with aerospace news. So, all right, so now if you want to scan this QR code, that will bring you to our link tree. That will have the Lockheed mentorship application, the sign up for the KSC industry tour, the interest form for the KSC social, as well as where you can pay dues, join our Discord, and our website where we have general information about everything. We have our pizza break up next, and then following that, we will invite Link Parikh to talk about his work in industry as founder and CEO of Rocket Technology. So if we could have everyone form 2 lines on either side, we can serve you some pizza and drinks. Thank you.
As a young guy, I was able to, own the ICD between the Hubble Space Telescope and the shuttle. And it's all about, leaning in. I couldn't stand like just working for people, right? I had to lean in. And sometimes you have to get it wrong, right? Like if you're in a class and you ask a question, it might be a dumb question in the minds of the other students, but really it's the only way to actually understand things. So, so I started as a aerospace engineer co-op in 1981 and worked on, I had my clearance. So just a few questions for everyone. Raise your hands. How many people have served in the military? Come on. All right, Walter. Thank you for your service. How many people are looking for a job in the DoD or military domain? Raise. Okay, great. How about in the civilian aerospace? Cool. Industrial manufacturing, nice. Okay. What else is out there? How about financial systems? So it's funny. I'm glad. Um, there was a time I raised two kids in Richmond, Virginia. There was a time when before COVID, Virginia Tech, another great school, not as good as this one, engineering school. 50% of the grads, engineering grads, did not go into engineering. It was really depressing. They went into finance. And they went into finance because, they made 3 times the amount of money. They had to go to New York. And I got to talk to some of the folks who did not go to get an engineering degree or became engineers and never did it because you cannot, it's adiabatic. You can't go back. You can't go back and then be a great engineer. It's too late. I mean, there's very few things in this world it's too late, but that's too late. You spend 10 years in finance doing derivatives, you're never going to be a great engineer. It's never going to happen. Your brain has been wired in a different way. So it's really important that, and thank you, and hopefully you will, which is what I call lifelong passion. I knew what I wanted to do in 3rd grade. My dad asked me what I wanted. I wanted to be an astronomer. And he said, oh, that's 10 years, that's 8 years of college, and you might get a job. I'm like, astrophysicist. He said same thing. So next day I came up and said, I want to be an aerospace engineer. And he goes, okay, yeah, sure. 4 years, you get a job. And I got to have my dream career. And hopefully now I'm going to be able to grow a number of companies. I told Walter it was 10 companies. So I have 3. But by that time, so I'll never retire really. I'm just one of those guys who wants to be Warren Buffett, I guess. But I want to have my innovations created and developed by other people who are going to make them global businesses, right? And so that's really where my journey is ending, right? And the ending is a lot of beginning. I've invented new things. There's not Nobel Prize, but it's pretty high up there, and it's going to be another exciting. So I'm 63 years old, so I'm just getting excited, and I'm really getting excited. So I have an AI company I just launched, and we're working with IBM. I'm an ex-IBMer. So that's a little bit about me. What are we going to talk about today? Okay, so how many people have a systems engine are getting a systems engineering degree or industrial engineering degree? Okay, great. So Dr. Karwowski, right? So I set up the engineering lab, the systems engineering lab here in 2009 over there, and there's a new book coming out about AI, advancements in AI. Anybody here done any AI or is interested in AI? Okay, I need 100%. Okay, I need 100%. And what that simply means is just go out there and do some no code stuff, right? Go up there and get your chat GPT or get B and create an agent, because it used to be that if you're an engineer, you need to learn how to do software, because when you go into SolidWorks or something, write your own code and customize it, and your value is higher than the guy who just simply used the drop-down menu. So now it's going to be, can you do predictive? Can you take a lot of data from the data fabric? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit of a different view, and that view is going to be in chapter 8 of the new text, UCF text. So Wiley and Sons comes out in May, which is edited by Dr. Karowski of the head of the your head of the Industrial and Systems Engineering Department. All right, next, please. I do. Thank you. That's green. Okay. So, we're going to talk about how we're actually going to deliver. This is actually a weakness in our, and you may be saving the universe here. So in the DoD, we have 89 programs, and the GAO gave generously a D- to the DoD. 89 failures out of 89. We have 17 software factories, and they're all deemed a failure. When we go out and say we want to build a new airplane, it's usually a 10-year project and it ends up being 17 years, unsustainable, overpriced, not all the requirements met. On the other hand, every program like that is basically an R&D project. So you can't, we don't even know what's going to end, what the plane's going to look like at the end of the day. So there is this struggle between the government, which is the customer, and the large aerospace companies down to the vendors. And there has been a very big lack of systematic thinking and integration across all the engineering. And systems engineering has become a discipline that helps you do that. So imagine this story where, like I was at NASA Goddard, and we're going to design a robot for the space station Freedom. So they got the best people on, best electrical engineer, and they were the heads of their departments. And I was a 27-year-old systems engineer because not a lot of systems engineers around. So I was the guy. So it was 9 of us, and I'm watching this thing evolve. And the electrical engineers, oh, we got to have it do this. And the heat guys, oh, it's got to point away from the sun. And 9 weeks later, they built this, and the design was this gigantic thing about 12 feet tall. It looked like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It had little tiny arms that couldn't do anything. And I was shocked that they actually printed it out. There was a color print of the first one. And this is what happens when you just get disciplined engineers who are super sharp in their discipline to go out and design something and try to deliver it. It never works. So the missing piece and missing person is the systems engineer. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that is, because if you go out there, you're going to be in a world of hurt if you don't have a good understanding of what the system of systems, how all those systems work together, and the trade-offs that you need to make, and literally the tools that you need to use to do that. So we'll talk about all that. I've been asked to talk a little bit about how to get hired. I did this last time. The whole thing was about how to get hired for your dream job and compete against everyone else who wants it. I'm going to give you just 2 minutes on that as a summary. Number one, you need to know the domain. So if I'm sitting and hiring people, I only hire world-class people. So if I'm sitting back here, and you're a healthcare guy, and we're doing military projects, it ain't going to work. Okay, I don't care if you have a Nobel Prize, you're not getting it. You have to understand the domain. That's why I was a co-op. I knew everything about the military systems and specs before my first job. Got hired in 2 hours. So domain, if you want to go into healthcare simulation or again civilian aerospace, you must try to get a job in there. Just learn and soak up all the lingo and the way people behave and do their workflows. Number two is your practice. So whether you're an electrical engineer or whatever, you have to have good grades, obviously, or find other ways to combat grades that are not as high, which goes back into experience, which will definitely do that, or get certifications in some of the things that are relevant. So your practice area. The third area is the tools. Too many times we're out there using tools that are free, and then you show up at work and you're like, oh my God, this is IBM Jazz. What the hell is that, right? And so Lockheed Martin has standardized on IBM Engineering Lifecycle Management Platform, Doors Next Gen for requirements, etc. You need to go in there and figure if you need to learn those, right? And there's, whether you call me or call somebody in the community, call Walter, find out how to get those tools and work on them. A lot of them are free trials and downloads, and start using them. Learn the taxonomy of those tools. And the last thing, which is impossible to get right now, is the techniques. You're starting to learn them in these projects, which are freaking awesome. And you're creating your own mental techniques on how to solve problems. Bring that to the interview, because that way you are ready to go tomorrow in the mind of the guy who's hiring you, right? Think about the process and how you solve those problems. Talk about how you didn't get one right and how you fixed it. So of course I told my dune buggy example on that one, and so that was one of the asks for this presentation. Next, please. Oh, that's me. I'm used to having somebody. Okay, so this is my money slide. So I put this in front of an '06, captain in the Navy, or it's going to be a deputy program manager or executive officer, even an admiral, or it could be a colonel in Marine Corps or Army or Air Force. And they're like, oh my God, this is just, I can't explain anything, but this slide does it. Does anybody know what I'm describing here? So in the real world that you're going to step into, you'll be involved with all these, it's not even layers, it's a web of different products that are being made. For example, the base plate of the satellite and the solar arrays and all those different products. You're going to have different disciplines, like the lethality guy who's going to be working on the missile delivery to the target, the guy who's actually working on thermal. All of these are discipline engineers, materials science. Um, and then you have the actual projects, right? So you have the missile project. Then you have the guy building the platform and the guys building the radar. And all these things are interrelated. And this is why all these things are late and why things are blowing up and people get killed, right? These things do not have a good integration method. And the integration method, and you can look it up, was developed by a organization which I was past president for. We have one here, and Walter is on the board as well, called INCOSI, International Council of Systems Engineering. So we have a standard for that. It's IEEE and INCOSI put that together and basically talks about how do I do that. We're going to talk about it in a second. But then each one of these is a program. So let's say product team one is building the next generation fighter, and the blue is going to build a missile for it, and the red is going to build some kind of defensive capabilities. And if one guy changes one thing, it could affect everybody else. And the way they do it today is it's done way too late. So instead of like $2 an hour fix, it's like $2 million an hour fix. So you're walking into a pretty unsophisticated world. So don't be too disappointed. But that is what it is. And because in 30 minutes, you're going to be so smart, you're going to be part of the answer. Next, please. Oh, thanks. I can't do this on. I can't do two things at one time. I'm a single fisted drinker, by the way. Okay, so this is the way it actually works in the real world. So you have somebody in charge. So I know you're here for engineering, but if you don't get your head around engineering management, you're gonna lose. Right? This is here's how I scare people. You really don't want to be working for him in 2 years. Right? You really don't want to be working for your classmate in 2 years just because you're like, management's that's for losers. So you need to learn a little bit about how it works, okay? So in this world, you usually have a portfolio manager who manages a lot of those portfolios. And then you also have people who manage the program, and then there'll be project leaders, and then you'll have subcontractors, et cetera. And all those people have to work together. So another thing about how to succeed, there's a paper coming up. You've heard about IQ, right? Now you guys got the IQ down, not worried. EQ, especially the ladies, think about the EQ. This is your emotional quotient, right? And the reason why I pointed you guys out last time is because in the last presentation, only the guys were raising their hands and asking questions until I pointed it out. And then when it was over, all the ladies came up and started. It's not just leaning in. You have to have a way to emotionally connect with people, and that's really hard for engineers. I'm not too worried about these project team guys, but some of the rest of you, I want to be an engineer and sit in my cubicle. It ain't gonna work. You're gonna be replaced. It's a hard thing. I'm not one of those guys. I used to be when I was in high school, pretty damn quiet. Once I got into the real world, I had a flip. I figured it out. I'm like, oh my God, I actually have to talk to people. And I started liking it. The third thing that I'm in the paper is collaborative quotient. A lot of people just don't work well together. Again, not talking about you guys, but a lot of people just don't. A lot of engineers just don't want to work with other people. Part of it is a lot of emotional personalities involved. So again, you could have great IQ and you're pretty good one-on-one, but you're really bad on a team. And you haven't figured that out, and you're not going to know it in the beginning. It's hard because all these other personalities So I'm going to give you one rule that changed my life is you're never going to be angry at work again if you figure out what motivated that guy. That guy is just a corporate climber. Okay, I understand that guy, right? Know your enemy. So just think about these things. A bonus for you. This is on YouTube. There's a lawyer. You can look it up. Your supervisor is not your friend. So your supervisor in a large company is the legal arm of the HR department, which reports to the lawyer. The HR department is a legal system. So when they say, "Oh, my door's open, you can tell me everything," do not do that. Do not tell them everything. Just think about that, right? 'Cause this is the person who does your performance review. But the second you mention something that's not good, that's going to get reported in his meeting because you're a risk. So you have to find mentors. I spent a lot of years in the Beltway. The coin of the realm is trust. And it's the same thing here. Trust. Find people you can trust because you're not going to survive. And again, you can't sit by yourself in the cubicle. All right, next, please. Next. All right, we get to play a video. Is it possible to click on this guy?
130 years ago, we, Mercedes Daimler, we invented the car. The next 130 years, we developed cars steered by a driver, owned by an owner, and powered by a combustion engine. This has to be changed because of a lot of disruption. The headline is the digital transformation. And digital transformation means we have to automate the processes and we have to focus on data. So data is the new oil. That means from this so-called core technology or core portfolio, we have to transform the core to case. Case means connected, autonomous, shared, and electric. And each and every digital initiative has to contribute at least to one of these three dimensions, which are time, cost, quality. In the past, we have developed our products based on silos. So let's say mechanic, electric, electronic, software. Because of this case, the number of customer functions are exploding. So how to organize, how to manage this complexity with hundreds of different user functions like, remote parking, driving assistance, lane assistant, the assistant to take over. That means a high level of complexity. Different systems are interference and interacting with each other. Cross silo, we are organizing these systems or the customer functions to organize this, to describe and to provide a functional prototype.
Mercedes figured it out. I can tell you, General Motors they almost went out of business 3 times back in 2010, whatever. And they saved their company with 5 IBM tools. A guy who used to work with me actually was on that team, Mark. And I'm going to tell you some things that are just not known publicly, right? So they brought these 5 IBM tools in it and all of the things that I was telling you about, and it saved the company. How? It took, anybody know how long it takes to produce a car from concept to production line? It used to take 10 years. Everybody took 10 years. But once they started with systems engineering and those tools, 5 years. That's with 1 million lines of code. Now it's got 1 billion lines of code and it's still 5 years. It's like a miracle. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you start digging into what I'm trying to help you understand about systems engineering and ecosystems engineering, learning how to glue it all together and deliver it right and how to think about it, it's incredible because without that, we're kind of in that post-World War industrial age where, it takes 20 years to build a dang jet plane and deliver it and it's overpriced and can't be sustained. That's what we have. So we're trying to, Lockheed Martin, Mercedes, and 10 out of 10 automotive companies are doing this because they have to. You can't, if you build a car in 6 years instead of 5, you're dead, right? You've got to have that. So, thank you for doing that, please. So what are the things, what are the elements that are just not in probably your courses that we're talking about that you need to learn about as far as getting the engineering lifecycle properly integrated in real time? So requirements definition. So how many people create a requirement and have any kind of rationale behind it? Today, even as companies as big as, you know, any of the big top primes, literally put one sentence to say, here's my rationale, and I'm going to create a requirement, right? That is the wrong thing to do. Why? What if you have to change that requirement, right? Don't have anything to write with, but if the requirement is, okay, the system shall, let's say it's a drone, the system shall be able to fly in 8-mile-an-hour weather across winds, and still be able to take, you know, pictures, whatever. Where did that come from, right? And how is it approved? And what if I have to change that to 6? And so the right way to do that is go back to see all the rationale, the use cases, and if you know anything about Agile, you'd be looking at stories and epics, and then be able to drag and drop that all off to the people who are deciding. But wait, what about the design? The design is going to be an architecture model in Rhapsody or Cameo. So all those have to be linked to the requirement too. So you have these multiple dimensions. And then the testing. What if the change requires an $80 million test bench? That's never going to happen. So you're going to have to optimize the design using systems engineering. Without that, you have people fighting for it. How many people realize how much heat you have to dump on a satellite? We always talk about getting the solar arrays powered up to power the systems, but we only have radiation to dump the heat. So if you look really closely at the space station, you'll never see that. You have to look really close. But you have solar arrays, and 90 degrees, you have these gigantic, long, black radiators. You can't even see them in the pictures. I dare you to go tonight and go look at the space station design. And no one even knows they're there. But it's so hot, and they have an ammonia system that has to, and it's very dangerous to flush all that out like a giant, horrible refrigerator. It's basically a giant refrigerator. So you have the guys like, hey, I want to put more detectors in there. It takes more power. And then this guy's like, I can't dump that heat. And so, okay, we're not going to have that much of a, you know, have to use 8088 processor now. So this is the world that you have to live in. How do I actually do AOAs, analysis of alternatives is what it's called, AOA. And deconflict with all the personalities involved, etc. So all of these things are involved. Concurrency, everyone knows that we have the giant Team Orlando here, right? Team Orlando is the training center of the universe for military. And when you're developing an airplane and trying to train on it, if you change the airplane, the trainer's $1 billion. So we have this concurrency problem today over there. So you have to really understand that when you change something, there's going to be a lot of impacts, and you need to know those. So you do that with these technologies and tools. Change management, the DoD has no idea how to do change management. And frankly, NASA didn't either, and that's why they had to give it up, right? It's the only agent, the bravest agency in the world was NASA, who literally said, well, we can't do this anymore. This is too hard. And gave it up to industry. DoD has not done that. But they're starting to. Anduril, right? Anduril is a new missile, and with AI, and you know, people are afraid, like, oh my God, what's happening here? Well, good things. Next, please. So change. I was just going to finish up, but change management. I talked a lot about that. That is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. The requirements are the other. This is through not my own experience. These are literally interviews with the top civilians at the DoD, for example, NAVAIR, Undersecretary of State, Undersecretary of Navy, and DARPA heads and all these. So I'm giving you summaries of what they thought, and without attribution of what the reality is. And it has not been solved, right? It's still a problem. So this is just a picture of how it all works together. Your requirements, your design, your test, they all have to be there in a live data environment. So today, most of it is done by paper or Teams or documents. So if you start working over there in the government or even a large company, you don't be disappointed when you're not getting what I'm telling you here. You're going to have to push for that. And if you learn it, you'll be walking in there knowing more than the 30-year engineer. Next, please.
Platform enables this global team to collaborate real time on developing this system of systems.
Historically, the various departments, the various activities would be fairly independent in what they did. We've had some roles within our engineering operations that have had maybe 20 to 40% efficiency because they spend the bulk of their time keeping track of all of the people interacting and what they're working on, ensuring everybody had the right versions, the right information. It's horribly frustrating to the engineers. It tremendously slows down our development.
We've now moved to the next step, a transformation of our company, a transformation of how we do work, a transformation of the products we're offering the customers.
Cool. All right, next, please. This is just another picture of sort of a triumvirate. Next, please. And you can have these slides. People are important, so everyone's going to have a role, and those different roles are going to be looking at different data, and then you're going to have to share data and justify yourself. So it's almost like being in a court of law, right? You're going to be getting in front of, pretty quickly, in front of a team of all different capabilities and experiences, and you're going to have to prove your point. Do your homework. Do 2 layers of homework before the meeting, because PowerPoint is PowerPoint, but always have that and memorize it. Next, please. All right, these are other roles. This is what they do. You can tell these questions are things that they think about at their desk, right? This is stuff I do every day, right? So, you know, what are the bottlenecks in our processes? Why is this not happening? We need to dive into that. Is it the person? A lot of times it's like the system. It's really not, like, you guys are not bad people, right? But you could be misdirected and be put on bad systems. So Edward Deming says 96% of problems for delivery are systems and only 4% are people. So think about that. So I keep harping on this. You're going to have to come to these places and improve the systems that are there. Go, please. All right, we can skip some of these, so this will be looked at later on. I'm very big on architecture. My view is, you know, you create a blueprint. It might be wrong, it might be high level, but there's a way to do that so that it actually can identify. So in the old days, what I learned was a thing called IDEF, which is a functional decomposition. And you said, okay, what is the function of that screen? And let me figure out all the fiddly bits that that need to make it. Let's make it. And then the user's like, God, I don't want that. I mean, it's slow as hell, or it doesn't have the resolution, or it's too much resolution for what I want to do. And so what we've moved into use cases and identifying what those are. And of course, in Agile, we have epics and stories. But the idea is that you need to do modeling as a capability decomposition, not a functional decomposition. That comes very low in sort of that chip level. So think about those things. You can look it up later. Next, please. Again, this is the team working together. Next, please. And this is, again, talking a lot about why the architecture works, what we call the canonical model. So you may have a as-is model. This is what we're thinking about building. This is where we are in the gate review. And then this is what we're actually building. So if you have an architecture model, people have a visualization of something. Because Excel spreadsheets, which is what a lot of people use, can only work in, 3 dimensions, right? 2 dimensions, and a workbook, that's 3. An airplane program has 187. That's why you need architecture. But it's still hard for people my age to get it. They're so freaking hard-headed, because they just learn the other stuff, right? And that's why I want to make sure that you come in with a new approach. And we already talked about integrated change management, so you can look at this later, how it works. Here is the full architecture of a proper engineering environment. I'm not going to say systems engineering anymore, because it's still engineering. If you're going to deliver something, we're talking about engineering, not specifically a discipline. I call it ecosystems engineering because in the enterprise or the project, there are things that have to work together and interoperate. But then there are things outside the project. For example, if you're relying on GPS for your project, that is outside. And what if it's down, or there's bad weather, or whatever, or cell tower? That's why ecosystems engineering is how you also do architecture, so that you understand your dependencies. If you remember my money slide, that was the dependency slide. Next, please. So this is really kind of the other money slide. It's like, what if we did this? And you're looking at, of course, I told you that we can build cars now twice as fast. You can build almost any system twice as fast now. Honeywell just tested it just last year, and they were shocked. And then, of course, the cost goes down. You could do change management on a technical software change or a wire 20 times faster. Think about that number. I did that at the Missile Defense Department. Next, please. This is your classic systems engineering V, and when you go back and look at it, you can see where the systems engineering tools actually fit in. And this is a larger picture where we now bring the AI piece. So what we did is, my company did, is not only do we have a command of the systems engineering and architecture environment, but we also have a command of the AI environment. We're like, why don't we just put them together? So we now have the watsonx platform and the ELM platform, used to be called Jazz, formerly called Jazz, and put them together. So now that when you go do your job in your engineering, you can actually have an AI sidekick that has a model that's tuned or trained to help you do that job. So your workflow is done and you move it to the next guy. So we did that for acquisition. So now we can make acquisition, you know what procurement of systems. We can make that go 2 to 5 times faster. I think it's 5 times. Next, please. Now, this is why they're not doing it. This hurts their head, right? There's 20 parts of it. But you guys are smart, right? I love it because your brains are really like going 100 miles an hour. You're going to class, but I tell you, you go in there and there's a 20-year guy. He's not thinking he's that way. Their brains have slowed down. They're really smart. They got a lot of tribal knowledge, but they're really not interested in learning anything new. So you're going to have a little bit of a problem. But I want you to have it. That doesn't mean that you can't have it. And one day you might even own your own companies. So this is how to actually change the world, how to actually deliver something with the most optimized way. These are the pieces. Next, please. So SC is systems engineering, and I don't like to use that word anymore because it's really engineering, but you know what I mean. So the chapter in the book, AI Advances, my chapter 8, is going to say, talk to you about everything I told you about in delivering a system, but for AI. Because I think we're all doing it wrong, and the failures are, you can read it in the paper. A lot of excitement, sure, about agents, but no one's going to use those, right? Because if I own a hospital and I have 1 million patients and all that data, I'm not going to go to the cloud and use an agent. That's a zero. That's a hard no, right? So now you got to figure out the answer. So what we did is, I'm a little lucky having the IBM. We're the only company other than NVIDIA that can actually bring an on-prem AI system, but you still have to figure out, what's this thing going to do? Why are we doing this? And that same architecture and requirements and everything like that you had to do before, you should be using those processes to bring AI into a company. You're looking at really data science and the software community. The software community has rejected engineering over the last 30 years and have completely failed in their community has failed. I mean, look at software right now on your phone. How good are those apps? Huh? You click on something and the yes and no are this far apart. My fingers like clicking on both of them. Come on. We had a mishap, on an F18. In the early days, I worked on the very first web browser, Mosaic 0.1, and when you clicked on it, it turned a different color. So you had feedback, you clicked on it, right? Well, these guys designed something for the pilot where you clicked on it, nothing happened. So he's clicking on it over and over and, the missile spinning all over the place. Like, really? You're not 12, and it's amazing how much is happening. I'm going to finish off because the rest of the slides talks about AI, about your role, how important it is as an individual. I'll tell you 2 stories. One's a quick one. In the shuttle, I'm part of the shuttle family. You should actually go look it up. It was on PBS. A great story about people in Melbourne, and how they lived, 30 years in the shuttle, and how their lives were changed and all that. You go look that up. It's a really great story. I was like crying in the middle of it because we really were sad when it ended. But there was a kid. I'm sorry to say that, but young engineer, who found something. And I think it was 1991, maybe 1993, something like that. Dan Golden, who's a friend of mine, he was a NASA administrator at the time, and it got into the news that some kid found a problem that could have blown up another shuttle. And Dan is like an honest guy. I love these guys. In NASA, you find a lot of, like 90% of that's a pretty high number, are really going to tell you everything, and they're not worried about it. So he literally said, look, yeah, the system worked, right? We have a culture where anybody here can raise their hand and say, look, this is not good. And sometimes you're going to get slapped for that. So again, the EQ and collaboration is important. Sometimes you have to do your homework, find out, ask other people, ask your mentor, find a couple mentors. Hey, what do you think about this? They might say, shh, don't say anything. And then you have to have an ethical, engineering is also about ethics, discussion with yourself on whether you bring this up to the right people and how you do that. I can't advise you. That's something you're just going to have to learn on your own. But this kid did that, and we didn't have another mishap, a total disaster. And you can look on, I think it's on, might be on YouTube. I'm not sure where I heard this one. I think it was on YouTube. But there was the Citibank building. This is gigantic building in New York, filled with bank people. And the problem in an undergrad engineering class was to figure out the structural displacement of this building in wind. Okay, sure. So 7-mile wind, blah, blah, great, 100-mile hurricane. And this lady did a crosswind, like what it came in a diagonal. And it was not able to survive a 70-mile-an-hour or higher wind. 70. They have those all the time in New York. This building is built and there's people in it. If it would have fallen, 200,000 people would have died because it would have knocked out all the other buildings. And so she just called up, this is the leaning in. She asked the professor, he said, yeah, call up the architect. This is super big architect. And she called him and said, hey, I don't understand. Could you help me? I always say, if you don't mind. I always say, if you don't mind. I learned that from Ben Hogan. If you don't mind. If you don't mind, would you help me understand this, how you designed this? Because I got this equation and I couldn't get it right. Didn't accuse him or anything. And he's like, okay, yeah, whatever. He went back there and like, oh my God, we missed something. This is like this massive architecture company in New York. And what they did was they went back in at night and welded where all those nuts and bolts were. They welded them. And the building still could have fallen during those 3 months. Nobody knew what happened because everyone went home and all the welders showed up and they put like cardboard and paper on all the windows. Like that could be you, right? You could be that person who saves 200,000 lives, right? So engineering is one of the most important jobs. I think it's the most important job on this planet ever since, Göbekli Tepe. Ever since we started putting up big giant stones. I don't know how many people died during Stonehenge, but we'll never know. But think about it. This is all safety and hazard. Safety in aerospace, you know what safety is? That's a system safety. Hazard is a human safety, right? So that's why on all NASA missions, we have a system that's on side B in the shuttle. And then if it doesn't work, you flip over to side A. It's the same exact box. And then if that doesn't close the bay doors, not good. You need something that's completely different, a backup of a different type, which would probably be a handle because you're not coming home if the bay doors don't close. So everything on a NASA system has the two backups, one of the same type and one that's unlike. So when you make your designs, think about that. That's important in any hazardous system where a human could get hurt. Generally, not so much. It'll be an over design probably for a unmanned system, unless it was working in a hazardous environment. For example, if it had fires and other kind of responsibilities where humans are there. Questions? Absolutely. Come on. So Florida is now going to be ramping up into this next phase. We're looking at potentially bringing NASA headquarters here. It's the opposite. I mean, everything is now coming this way. You're going to start seeing agencies move out of the Beltway, okay, for a lot of reasons. But in space, you're in Space U, right? LSU's got DBU, right? You got the SU and SDU, space delivery. I like that word. And we normally KSC was kind of a little tiny center that just did launch operations and integration when I was there, but that's going to change, of course, if they bring NASA headquarters here, and of course with the SpaceX. So the low Earth orbit stuff, definitely. I don't know what's going to happen to Artemis, but what's happening is a lot of the engineering is starting to come over here, and KSC is now going to start getting more the design type of work than it had before, rather than launch integration services. By the way, Blue Origin and Lockheed Martin is standardized on all the things I just told you and the actual IBM tools. Back there first. Oh, sure. $10 is $10. Thanks. All right, I'll say it before Walter does. You need to come to the INCOSI meetings. It's this third. What is it? God, I should know this. It's second Thursday. I think we changed it Thursday. Second Thursday of every month. The Wednesday is the board meeting. Again, I'll be here. As a matter of fact, you get the first one. There's a little 3D flyer for it. And I think I don't know how much it costs to be a student member. You don't have to be a student member. But if you give me your information, I believe this QR code. Yeah, I think this QR code will get you to my either website. Oh, here's my email address. So info@rocket-technology.com. Anybody can send information on that and say, hey, I want to be part of the INCOSI, or I want more information about the tools. I can give you a link to the IBM tools. I can, you can come over to the offices. I'm right over here in the SAIC building on Ingenuity and take a look at them. We can, we have to have an appointment. You don't want to walk in and there's a colonel sitting there, right? So, but no, we're happy to help you. We mentor people all the time. And if you want to get, have us take a look at your CV, we can do that. If you want co-op ideas or ideas on how to get internships and stuff like that, let me know. We had another question. Come on, project guys. Sales is hard. Sales is the hardest. You can talk to there's now we have Silicon Valley founders who are actually telling the truth about how they started. And I was watching one last night. I actually sent it to other people. These two kids who graduated from Columbia. They were in an engineering society, and they raised $75 million. But I think they spent maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, I don't know, pretty much on the phone, 8 in the morning to 9 at night, just making sales calls. This was like the worst. And I always had a hard time finding a really good salesperson to express what we're doing. And part of my problem is what I was selling was a little too complex and a little too far in the future. And I'm a little finally feeling good about it because every single CEO is like, they don't know what AI is, but like, I want AI, right? So, okay, we come in there. I don't know if you ever seen this video about Steve Jobs. I usually talk about this. So he got up and said, hey, back then he had this iPod, right? So they used to have Apple Macs and stuff, and they came up, finally got this little MP3 player. Not the first one in the world. I had one before that, but it was really cool looking. And he walked around the entire, like thousands of people, Apple heads are over there. You're like, what's in here? And all these engineers, oh, I got a Mux Demux and a display pixelizer, blah, blah, blah. And he's smiling like, yeah, it's cool, cool. And he goes, happiness. So when I look at what is an F-35, it's victory and bringing the pilot home. So if you have to be able to describe what you're doing from top down that way. But you got to have a salesperson who can do that too. So great question as well. So what is AI, right? Actually, it's funny. I was on the AIAA Space Robotics Committee with Mike Lavery, who was one of the guys who invented the first robotics program. Dean Kamen was the other guy I met who started, as you know. Um, and we agreed in 1991 never to use the word AI again. And we were talking with the guy who wrote the fuzzy logic book originally out of Stanford, and and like, and now of course, and it's just still a problem. Nobody, I mean, if I say AI, what does that mean? It's like saying software, right? It's like, what does that mean? It's just code, right? So it depends on what you're talking about. So I will say it this way: certainly with IBM, we are trying to do this. You're not old enough to remember. There was no software in businesses except for a mainframe, right? So when a guy showed up with a PC and a disk, like, hey, I can do your accounting, you better have a good business reason for that. And that's kind of where I'm focused, is going back into all of the operations of a company and see if I could help the person who's human being do their job better. That human being has more value than the software. So that person's going to guide us on how to build it, what the tribal knowledge is, and then we're going to upgrade them and get them certified in AI, even if it's just a cursory level. That's going to help their value, even in the whole marketplace. But it's also going to help them with adoption is the hardest problem. So get them adopted. And then maybe we may innovate and invent new things in the company with some new AI models and make them more competitively advantaged, which would be different than the regular operations and maintenance, but actually like a new product or a new rocket engine style, something like that. So answering the other half of your thing, yes. So um, creating so AGI, you're still kind of like asking questions or getting a robot to do something. You can still control that. But if they become prescient, that's what you're talking about. And if you read all the Asimov books, right? I mean, you can, I recommend you do that. Read all the iRobots, and then read the foundations, and it comes together in one incredible novel. So that's your homework assignment. I'm a kind of cool professor, right? So go read the sci-fi. But I mean, it's amazing. It really does give you those answers on how, if we did create an anthropomorphic robot that you could have as in this case, a detective buddy, but you're the detective and he's your sidekick, and what their perceptions would be in helping you solve the problem. It really, I read that when I was in high school. It really brought my brain to thinking about, I can build a home robot, which I designed in 1991. We still don't have one yet, right? But you can't be scary. Mine looks like a chess piece, kind of cute. But the bathroom, the bathroom never moves. I don't care what house you're in, it's always in the same spot. The toilet's in the same spot. And you're telling me right now we can't have something go in there and clean that bathroom every day? You got to be kidding me. But we don't have the imagination. And in some cases, we don't have the funding, right? And those are the two things that are lacking. So yes, a prescient system. And I do believe my personal belief is we should not do research in that area, because it has happened once where, um, a couple of models agents started talking to each other and were doing things that the programmer did not know about, and then they literally almost had to unplug the thing out of the wall. But so it's a great question, but that's why the engineering is important. It's a great thing, because if we don't think about and have not architected where and why this AI is working, and then and try to figure out the governance model, then we are going to make a lot of mistakes, and it's happening today. Again, another story where in Cheyenne Mountain, where somebody puts an AI system in for a drone or a predator, and it's in simulation, and they say, okay, you need to go out and kill any bad guys that look like this. Okay, get out there, and for whatever reason, the commander told the operator, "Nah, just come home now." And guess what? Does anyone know what the predator did in simulation? It came home and killed the operator. Right? This is real. I got it out in the news. Go look it up. These are people who don't know how to do AI. These are the same people who are writing software, right? The same failures, right? Because they're not engineers. They're not real engineers. And that's why I'm really excited about you guys getting your engineering degree, because almost no one is doing real engineering at that level. I'm like, I'm leaning in to correct people and say, this is really not a good engineering process, because this pilot's going to get killed. And I need you guys to do that. And again, you don't know how to do it, but again, if you come to Incozy, download these slides and do more go to the NCOSY site, go look at 15288. That's the IEEE document. It's a little boring, but it's a systematic way on how to design and deliver something, whether it's a doghouse or a giant tower. It's going to be mainly a tower. You don't need that for a doghouse. Anything else? Oh, this will be the last question, she said. I want to hear what you have to say. Depends. So that's just why we have an engineering process, not a software process, right? We really need to understand the what, why, and if we're going to use machine learning for that workflow or that weapon systems process, or do all that work first, create a life cycle, and then start choosing. And we have tools in Watson Studio. You can actually compete the tools, right? We do that. We did something for a State Department, found out who was actually creating a whole bunch of viral, it's not X, of course, it was Twitter, from Chinese and Russian propaganda. We found who they were, and we tested the random forest and a bunch of other different styles. And I'm glad you brought that up, because there's no one AI answer. You're going to find out that you're going to need to compete because it's too complex, even in generative. So you're going to have compete different. We compete the Mistral model with the Granite model. Granite's the cheapest and fastest, so we use that first. If that doesn't make me happy, I might use Llama or a small model. So yes, there's no answer. There's no answer. You have to go out and engineer it. That's literally why we had this talk today. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So that brings us to a close. We want to say thank you on behalf of AIAA for coming out to our first GBM of the semester. So up here is going to be a QR code. It's going to take you to all of our important links. It's going to take you to our link tree. It's going to be where you pay dues. That's going to go to towards the projects. It's also going to go to our Instagram as well, and the merch as well. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. Get home safe and stay warm.